Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dive Deep. I'm Shelby Cornett, and I'm the ministry assistant at Cambridge City Christian Church. And this is Danny,
Yes.
my guest.
Your weekly same. I'm not really a guest anymore, am I?
Yeah.
If I'm here every week,
Like a co-star.
you're the star,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I'm just the co-star.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This whole podcast thing isn't getting to your head, is it?
No.
No. You're still the humble Shelby that we all know.
Yeah.
Even though your podcast stardom has now hit you, and you,
Yeah, that's what I'm famous for, a podcast on Facebook. Blake Shelton.
Not as famous as him. Well,
No.
long story there, right? Okay.
I might be one day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
back to our scheduled program. This week was Easter.
It was Easter. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It
I
was
love
great.
Easter weekend for all the reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it was really neat just to see the room full and
Hmm
families
I know I told you guys this.
together.
I love
Yeah.
watching people come in
Yeah.
on Easter because
Mhm.
there's people here that aren't usually here,
Yeah.
and people tend to dress up on
Yeah,
Easter.
yeah.
And it's just nice seeing people together and
Yeah,
talking, and
yeah.
especially after COVID.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually that morning, where I was at on Easter 2 years before.
Yeah, that stunk.
And yeah, because we did have Easter together last year, but we were still under some restrictions and stuff, so we didn't have a huge crowd. But 2 years ago, we were under restrictions, so we were
I was
closed.
at home.
Yeah, I remember coming to church that morning and just nobody being here on Easter morning. It was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. And I remember Travis and I needing to go, and we had to pre-record stuff, and we pre-recorded Easter sunrise, and it was a beautiful service. We did it outside on a hillside.
That was the one where you were in the barn.
No, that was Christmas.
That was okay.
We did one that was up on a hillside that overlooked, and we did it at sunrise. It was beautiful morning, perfect morning. I really enjoyed. I think both of us really enjoyed putting that together. But yeah, it still doesn't beat being with God's people together, and that it was great to see that this week. And we had our sunrise service, and the weather was cold, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful morning, and
Yeah, I saw a picture. I'm not a sunrise
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
But I
You're
saw
not very
pictures.
dedicated, so
Maybe
That's
I'll
good.
get there when I get old, like you
yeah.
guys.
Oh, when
Then I'll get
you
up
get
for
old,
sunrise.
you'll get up for sunrise. All right. So if you're watching this podcast and you just heard that. You just heard that
My last
insult
one.
about old people, and you want to send complaint mail, you can send at the Shelby Cornett, and the address
Yeah.
our church's address, but make sure it's addressed to Shelby and not me. Okay?
Yeah. I get plenty of grief. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not just me.
But yeah, it was a great day.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And
yeah.
we wrapped up
the
the
between
Between Two Trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your overall take from the series? Like, what was it about the series that really jumped out at you the most through all 4 of the sermons?
I think just the general idea, like, because I never put it together that all these trees, like, it all happens with a tree. So it was just like, it made me think.
Yeah. It was a really neat series, something a little different, but yet had a lot of good truth for Easter, and it was. Yeah, I really enjoyed the series.
Yeah, I did too.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my notes this week,
Okay,
they're all over the place.
that's all right.
'Cause, you know, like, I just, like, write down whatever I'm thinking, and I never know what I'm going to say until we're sitting here talking.
Yeah.
So
All right.
my first note was, I wrote, "It is finished,"
Yeah.
means so much more than just the crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought, every time I saw that, because I'd read that several times, like, I just think the crucifixion, it's done. Like,
Yeah.
he's on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much more to it.
Yeah. I mean, that word is a very rich one. If I remember it right, I think it's the Greek Aramaic word tetelestai, I think is what it is. It's finished. It's kind of a debt kind of term, like I've paid the debt. And so when you see there in the book of Revelation, I read Sunday, there's another place where it says it's done in Revelation. I believe it's 21. In Revelation 21, it says, and it is done. Well, it's kind of the similar term. It is finished.
Right.
So, yeah, God, you know, in Jesus Christ, when he died on the cross, it wasn't just an act of submission. It was an act of payment. He was paying for our sin.
Right.
And so when he died, he said, okay, God, here I've paid the bill. It's almost like you're sitting at a restaurant and you have the server come up and you say, here's my payment for the check, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what he was doing in that moment. Yeah, pretty powerful moment. And we see that, again, there was a prophecy, I'm trying to remember it now, where it was prophesied, you know, that he'll say it's done, and then we see it now we see it in the book of Revelation too. So it's pretty cool how it keeps popping up. Yeah.
And then I put in the book of Revelation, we talked about the city coming down from heaven, and I thought that is so cool, but it's also like the picture of it is kind of scary to me because it's just so like foreign, I guess, to what we see now.
Yeah. Well, we know that this world is going to be, the scripture tells us it'll be destroyed by fire. We know that's going to happen, but that in its place there will be a new earth. And when it says new heaven and new earth, what most people, I think, this in the scripture, I think, points to this is that there is obviously the heaven where God presides, but earth and heaven will kind of be conjoined as one. Like, there won't be that separation that we have now. I mean, that the fall brought that separation. When we look in Genesis, we know that God walked in the garden, it says. So Adam and Eve saw God. They saw him like I see you. But then when sin entered the world, then he removed himself from here. And then because of the absence of God's presence here, evil entered the world. And that's kind of a good segue into my sermon for this week, because we're going into a series on suffering. I'm talking about the problem of evil. And oftentimes we think evil is something that God, you know, we tend to blame God for when bad things happen. But the fact is that it was us who told God to leave, because that's in essence what Adam and Eve did when they sinned. And so, so the new earth will be much like the one we see now, but without all the junk that we experience.
Like the garden.
Yeah, it'll be a return.
Back to normal.
Between two trees, right? You're going from there was the original garden. We're trying to get back to the original one. It's kind of like starting all over again.
It was also cool. We might have mentioned this last week, that all three of the trees, everything that happened kind of like took place in a garden.
Yeah, there are connections to the garden. Yeah.
That was cool too.
Yeah, the picture in Revelation 21 and 22 is of the river of life. And somebody asked me after service, they were like, I never thought of it, but it says that the tree was on both sides. So evidently this river of life runs through the tree.
Oh.
Yeah. So for it to be on both sides, obviously. So it's kind of a cool image. You know, the water of life is God, and then we have this tree.
And it's between the two trees.
Yeah. It's your mind.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff. Yeah. Revelation is, if we can get past all of the theories and ideas people have of the end times and look at just simply the objects and the things that are mentioned in it, it's really got a lot of neat connections to the New and the Old Testaments. So yeah, pretty neat stuff.
And then the idea of he is making things new, because, and I tend to do this when I look at the Bible, or like we're going through the story, I think of it like a history book, and it's not all history.
Well, when he said he is making, or I am making all things new, I think as Christians we could sometimes make the mistake of thinking, oh, things are going to be better one day. Well, things are being better today.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to get better as the days go along. I really do believe that, God is in the process of restoring things. So, yes, it will be better one day, obviously. I mean, when new heaven and new earth. but he is already making things new. That's why he came and died on the cross for us, was to make things better. And the resurrection makes things better. And the Holy Spirit who works in our lives every day makes things better. But yeah, the full healing of the world will come later.
And I thought, like, okay, Revelations to us now is kind of like Jesus in the Old Testament.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, they were looking forward to the coming Messiah. The Messiah has come, and now we look forward to
him coming back.
The coming Messiah. It's the same thing. It's just Christ took care of our sin problem already. Now we're waiting for him to take care of the curse of that's on the world, death, pain, destruction, all that. So so we're waiting for him. Yeah, it's different but similar to what those in the Old Testament were waiting for.
We're waiting for the same thing, just for him to do something different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good insight. I never really thought of it like that before.
Yeah.
Good job, Shelby.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, okay, the story about the man sending his back taxes was kind of funny. Like, I felt bad for cheating on my taxes, so here's this check. And if I don't feel better, I'll send you the rest.
I'll send you the rest, yeah.
I'm like, I know I do that. Like,
you only send part of your taxes?
No.
Again, if this is the IRS, you can get in touch with Shelby.
Yeah. I really need to, like, make a script or something.
All right, sorry.
What I was saying was
Mm-hmm.
when we think of that as what we do for God, I am guilty of doing what I think is, like, just enough.
Yes.
Or like, well, I committed this sin, but Jesus has got it. You know, like.
Well, yeah, Jesus has got it, or maybe we say, yeah, but my sin wasn't as bad as such and such.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, we'd like compare. Well,
That's legalistic.
Yeah, we talked about that here a few months ago, didn't we? About legalism. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do have a tendency to do that where we'll take our we will only admit what we have to.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you go to court and you let's say you're testifying, they ask you to say, "And I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." We don't always do that with God.
Right.
We don't tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Like, I might tell you the truth, but I'm not going to tell you everything.
Yeah. And not just God, we do that with people too. We tell them enough.
Yeah.
And as long as we're still holding things back, God is going to have a really difficult time transforming us. One of the things I mentioned Sunday is we have to admit that we have a problem. For transformation to happen, you have to admit you have a problem. And if you say you only have a partial problem, well, that's not good enough. We have to admit that we're rotten through and through. And we need transformation and redemption.
I like that you said, like, when you pray, like, saying, like, I am a sinner, kind of, like, opens everything up.
Yes. It's a doorway. It opens it up to the perfect God coming into the imperfect us and transforming us. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing was we said, who are we with?
Yeah.
And it made me think of the show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And it also made me think of that song, I Got a Friend in Jesus. It's like, that's what you want.
Yeah. That's funny. Show me your friends and show me your future. Show me, maybe we can switch that around. Show me your God and show me your future.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we could say that God is our God, but is he first place? Because, I mean, really our God can be anything else.
Right.
It can be a family member. It can be a hobby. It can be school. It can be television. It can be video games. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? So show me that God and show me what your future is going to look like.
Right.
I mean, and really all of them outside of Christ is you're going to be dead one day, and then what?
Yeah.
There's your future. So, yeah. So who are you with? Who are you with? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's who am I becoming? Who am I with? And admitting that I have a problem. You have to start off by admitting you have your problem and then ask yourself, okay, where is this heading? And how am I going to get there? Who am I going to do that with?
Yeah.
Um,
That's like, what is it? Is it AA where you have to start where you have a problem?
well, yeah,
It's like the same thing.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. I was going to mention it was in my notes actually, but I didn't mention that just because of time. But yeah, it is similar because before transformation can come into your life with anything, you have to admit there's a problem. If you don't think there's a problem, then you're not going to allow God or anybody else for that matter to transform or fix you. So yeah, has to start.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty. It was a good series, and it was good Easter, and hopefully we'll take it to heart what the Word told us Sunday. Yeah.
And this week we start
new series. It's kind of a 3-week series, but it's going to be over 4 weeks because we have Mission Sunday next week. But the series is called In the Midst of Suffering, and this week we're going to talk about the problem of evil, and there will be some connections with the series we just finished. We will look a little bit going back to the very beginning of sin, and we're going to look at why it's such a problem and then what God is calling us to do about it. So I really hope it's a helpful one because the biggest problem people have with God is usually this one is why is there evil in the world? If God is so good, why is there evil?
And that'll relate to everyone.
Yeah, because we've all been there. We've all asked that question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be a good series.
Cool.
So, yep.
So we'll start that next week.
Start it next week. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll talk about suffering.